Part 1. What is TE? Is it a shared logical system? That sounds too much like FE for me. I think it's more like a system that can be perceived across and not just logicked across. Like if you kind of like negotiate stakes in gambling, and trust is established over that sort of science. Step 2 in step 1, is TE properly creative to be said to be it's not creative in the same way any TI is. So NIFI takes up the leg. I don't think TE should be authored to have to be that creative. Not talking fast enough. So TE is just kind of that kind of shared or cross-sensible sort of thing. So there's not much of a creative art to that, because it takes a long time to like propagate throughout the system, you know? It's a bit more difficult. FE art is also a bit more difficult. It's just a lot more fluid. Step 2. What is a second function? A second function is used for utility, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's utilitarian. That doesn't necessarily mean it's divorced from the self, divorced from just on kind of the individual happiness, not on the essence of being, which would be in like a conscience ethics. A second function is very important. A second function. INFJs are such fucking babbies when it comes to the fucking... Oh, I'm an intro... They're the most like that. In my fact, ISFJs, they can, they take their leg up, or whatever the expression is. INTPs, look at what I'm doing right here. ISTPs, sure. Maybe not. Maybe it's a beta thing. You're fucking beta. Isn't that funny? Isn't that a colloquial sense of the word? The Greek... I'm gonna stop. Across the types, I think INFJs take too much, like, depth into their NI and not enough breadth, or maybe the other way around. You get the point. And not enough in their FE. And I think the utility of it is underrated. I like the utility of being able to, like, have stuff, in a sense, because otherwise I don't. I just have... stuff has me. That's not good. Okay, step 3. Step 3. Last step. We're probably gonna, like, back propagate to the other steps, because I'm shit. Step 3. What expressions what expressions span a person? This is the issue of, like, saying, oh, this isn't really the real expression of a person, like the first and second slots, or, oh, this is just a static shot expression, the first and third shots, and usually you don't have, like, second and third, second and fourth, third and fourth, because, I mean, those aren't important aspects. Are they? I don't know. What is a person? You suggested, pretending to the ENFP video that it's much more important that you take the first and second. But here, he's like, oh, in essence, it's first and third. There's, like, a natural kind of conflict with this. And I think much less important, like, personally speaking, human relations, I think it's a bit weird that like INFJ, no INTJs, secret NFs. By what kind of like law of a system? Is it just kind of like you're kind of wishful thinking? Is it? Is it? Is it? Beyond? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to witch hunt you. I'm just looking for a reason. Looking for a reason for anything out here. Looking for a reason to live. For no, just for this. So, what is a person? And you can't really like extend people into archetypes to really explain for them. You have to like extend archetypes over the person to fill them out. You can't just say, oh, this archetype is OP. This archetype slays. This archetype fucks. This archetype has plenty of children and lots of pleasure throughout the day. What am I getting onto? I'll comment what to skip to. You know, I find it interesting how the structural considerations of the thing reflect on the sentimental considerations of the thing, such as that science is, or at least the TE, looking for things in ideals in the world is both a structural sort of thing, that's how they structure their ideals, and a sentimental thing, as in their ideals, they feel them in the world. They feel them concretely, not just as like possibilities. And of course, like possibilities and happenings are the same once they've happened. You just have different perspectives on them. Less gritty, more symbolic, less symbolic. More symbolic, less symbolic. And then I'm like, well, I think I'm an idealist. However, by a structural standpoint, I'm not, because I brew on things. I brew them into reality. I don't brew reality into ideas like an INTJ would. So that's furthermore a sort of misunderstanding of TE, I think. TE, he said it's a misnomer. Opaloid, you said anon, or whatever I should address. You said it was a misnomer. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not just a misnomer. It's just a tool function. It's not utilitarian, therefore. It's treated utilitarianistically, the attention, but the intention doesn't treat stuff utilitarianistically. I found it interesting that INFP, INTJ, I found them a lot like, I compare them as if they have the same functions. So that's along the lines of a similar distance from things I associate both of them with. Because ISFP, I forget that it's a type. And they also seem more distant in the universe away from people. So along that line, saying INFPs are crybabies, it's like, sure, but that's not even a negative stereotype. Crybabies get shit done. They get sympathy from people. That's good. Um, and it's a kind of empathy, sort of big tent, little tent policy of like, hey, you guys are just as weird as me. Not kind of trying to make a cult, but like trying to express, hey, you want to be cult like this. The other sense of cult.